It's Peyton and Lynn, and we are so happy to bring you 5 Minutes of Awesomism, our podcast. And where we talk about people, we talk with people, and we talk about places and things that we think are helping turn autism into awesomism. So today we have one of my very favorite people in the world, Chris Weekly. I love Chris so much. Chris is an autistic adult, and Chris is probably, and I'd say this more behind his back than I say to his face, one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life. And that is the truth. But you know what I love about Chris? He's so intelligent, but he doesn't talk down to people from his intelligence. Like he knows I don't understand a lot of things, so he will explain it to me in my language because I don't get what he's talking about. But Chris, please give us a little bit about yourself and so that we can share with our audience.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chris Weekly. I'm a late diagnosed autistic person. I was diagnosed at the age of 32. During that time, there were no real support avenues. Really, it was just, me trying to hack and figure things out on my own. This really took quite some time. I had to get very creative and use creativity on myself rather than externally for the things that I did in life, work, and things outside of work. What I did a couple of years ago is I took a real hard look at my experience being employed and unemployed. And it was something that really got to me. And I decided, I should really look at maybe trying to do my part to become an advocate, because up until then, I really wasn't an advocate. I was just trying to stay invisible and move through life as best I could that way. And that wasn't helping anyone, and it wasn't helping me. So now I've launched my own startup to go into companies and teach them what they don't know about autism. Nothing that gets covered in the news, nothing in clinical articles at all. All of the things, all of the benefits, all of the great missed opportunities that they have. So right now, in a lot of companies, there are autistic people who hide, and they mask to hide, or mimic, as I call it. We look for the closest person around us that we can kind of fit to look familiar and to pass as just another person. And we leave ourselves behind in that. It's exhausting. It doesn't allow us to bring all of our talent and skill in a real, authentic, genuine, comfortable way. Teaching companies how to be more attentive, how to understand this, how to create different pathways, new pathways of communication to help unleash the talent that lies in their company is everything that I'm setting out to do. And then teaching them on the back end how to write job posts that will attract people on the spectrum. They'll be able to say we are autism friendly because we now understand autism in a way that we didn't. And being able to attract applicants who just aren't represented in the job pool at this point. Going forward, in the next couple of years, there'll be more than 1 million autistics who will reach adulthood, and they're going to want jobs and they'll want a career path. And for all of the brilliant minds that you read and see about, there are millions of innovative and creative minds that could do that for companies, only they're not there. And so it's my job to see if I can work with companies so they can open a pathway so they can be there.
We love that so much, Chris. Listen, I think you are doing so much good. And I am really happy that we are friends. And I am really happy to have you in our life and to be associated with Team Awesomism, because I know that you are probably one of the most caring people I've ever met in my life. And I know that this commitment is serious. And what you're doing is so needed. With 75 to 85% unemployment rate for autistics, that's just completely unacceptable. We as a society should be embarrassed by that, but too many people aren't. And so doing what you're doing is really truly changing lives, because I believe that by having autistics employed also cuts down on the autistic statistic of 25% more likely to commit suicide, and the homeless because if you're employed, you can counterbalance the homeless rate, you can counterbalance the loneliness. So what you're doing is extremely important. We at Team Awesomism thank you so much. We love you. We think you are one of the best people in our life, and we thank you for coming on here and for doing what you do. And we are always here to help you in any way we humanly can.
Well, I want to reciprocate that as best I can. It is truly an honor to know you and Peyton and your whole family. I love you all to death. Um, you were really, you and Peyton were really the ones that really, truly helped get me out of my shell. You were the ones that submitted me to speak at ICANN earlier this year. And, um, that opened up a lot of avenue. And you know what it did? It really pushed me to a point where I really started to care about who I was as a person. And yes, you actually can do this. I remember coming away after I left the stage speaking, thinking, I'm really doing this. And it was so profound for me to do that. And it was an experience that few people ever get, or few people ever follow through on. And I remember being so proud of myself with doing it and following through. And really, I owe a lot of that. I owe all of that opportunity to you all. If you hadn't taken an interest in me, I wouldn't have been there. And I don't know what my path would look like now. So seriously, you and your family are an amazing blessing to me.
Thank you so much, Chris. And we were so excited to have you there. And it was so great to be able to hug you in person, not just virtual.
Yes, yes.
It was. So thank you so much for coming on, and we will be in touch soon. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Have a
Yes.
great rest of your week.
You too.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.